Okay, guys, so the best MCU show finale just dropped. Loki season 2, episode 6. Oh my god, this is like one of the best things, not even since Endgame, but one of the best shows and seasons overall in the MCU. And by shows and project, or by shows and seasons, I mean projects as a whole too. There are no boring parts in this episode. And obviously, at the end of last episode, Loki goes back to the point where the timeline collapses. And we see him now, he's able to control his time slipping, so he's able to go back repeatedly because, he keeps failing at what he's trying to do. And he has one successful attempt, but it fails again. And at this point, I was confused on what would happen because I didn't think he would do this, but he went. Talked to Sylvie, and then he got an idea from Sylvie, not directly from her, but he just had a light bulb, and he went all the way back to He Who Remains when Sylvie was about to kill him. After a certain number of times of him trying to stop Sylvie, He Who Remains actually knows what Loki's going through with the time slip and everything, and that whole moment made me very scared of Kang again. And we need that. We need to feel fear like we felt fear from Thanos all those years building up to him in Infinity War. And yeah, they talk about the time slipping. And, He Remains is like, come back when you're ready to have this conversation because he didn't think Loki was ready. And that's when Loki froze time. And I was like, time slipping is one thing, but freezing time is just a whole nother thing. So yeah, they talked, and we found out actually that the timeline and what happened to it is actually a failsafe for it, which is not going to help us whatsoever. That's until Loki gets another idea to rewrite everything. And what I mean by that is instead of Victor going out there, he goes back to the point where once again the timeline is about to, be gone, like blow up and take everyone out. We see Loki go out there and he's somehow like going against the radiation. I don't know, like he evolved into a whole new level, walked out there with all the radiation around him, the same radiation that killed Victor Timely millions of times, and he just walked out there like nothing. And he did this and like destroyed the timeline just with his bare hands. I was like, what? And then we see his comic accurate suit form around him, the horns, the cape. It was perfect. Also, I forgot to mention that Loki went to Obi and said, how can I learn what you learn? Like, how long will it take for me to know what you know? And he said centuries. And Loki literally spent centuries learning what Obi knows, and he is now the smartest person, like, in the multiverse. Like, I'm not even playing, especially because hear me out. I'm gonna get to the end and what happens at the end for that to be a factual statement. Once Loki destroys the timeline, we see all of the dead timelines around him. He grabs them, crushes them, or whatever he does with them, and then this gap forms and he goes to it, and the gap leads to the end of time where the Citadel was, where He Who Remains was, where his throne was, where he was, the Citadel. And he has all the branches in his hand. He sits down on the throne. He is the new He Who Remains, or I think they call it the God of Stories. I think his title is. I do need to learn more about that because that sounds sick as hell. Yeah, I'm really sad it's over, but like this finale was just so filling and so good. Especially thinking about the fact that when will we see Loki again? It most likely will be in Kang Dynasty. Most likely will be. And that's going to be in like 4 years, so we're not going to see him for a while. I'm praying we get a tiny bit of him in Deadpool 3, especially with the leaked plot and the TVA going after Deadpool. I think that'd be really cool. I also didn't catch this the first time. With me being a Norse mythology fan and a fan of all the God of War games, and how we just got done with Norse mythology, after Loki was thrown and he had all the branches in his hand, turned everything green, and the timeline, instead of it being that yellowish, brightish color, it's just a green tree. And it zoomed out, and I didn't catch it the first time, but it's the time tree of life, Yggdrasil. I think that was so cool. I was too caught in the moment. I didn't really catch that the first time, but wow, the storytelling for this has been insane. And I'm not sure if this is even controversial anymore, but I think Loki might. No, Loki definitely is the best developed character within the MCU, or in any Marvel show, period. And I think for me, he's my favorite character, #1 character now, even more than RDJ. RDJ is a very close second, though. Don't get me wrong, his arc was amazing too. But Loki's arc was so good. Yeah, after that we get Mobius wanting to take a break from the TVA, go back to Earth, maybe live a life, and we got Sylvie. I'm not sure what Sylvie's doing. McDonald's. I'm not sure. But yeah, the TVA is building back up, and Miss Minutes is there, but I think she's been recreated to, not be a psycho, so that's good. And yeah, we end it with Loki being on the throne, and since we're not getting any Marvel projects next year except Deadpool, because everything got pushed back because of the strike, this may be obviously not the only project because Deadpool's coming out, but it's not going to be a lot of projects coming out. There's also been a theory that the TVA or Loki will go out through the multiverse. I'm not sure if Loki can interact. I'm not sure what that role is and what comes with that role. But essentially, the TVA will go out to different universes and get prime heroes of that universe to fight Kang and make it like a whole team. I think that's very cool. I just hope that they aren't overshadowed by the original MCU, because that really wouldn't make any sense. I want to see all the heroes come together from the Marvel Cinematic Universe together and fight. And I would also love the prime heroes of other universes to come together. I just don't want people to overshadow the others, if that makes sense. What do you think of this down below? Because I think this was the best episode of the Marvel shows, and I also think it's the best show in general. I am seeing Captain Marvel tomorrow as well, and I will have my review out either tomorrow night or Sunday. And yeah, I'll do a ranking on everything, including Loki and the Marvels. So definitely stay tuned for that. Once again, tell me what you guys thought down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe as well. Thank you all for watching. Peace.